Yes, it's done.
Oh, that's not popped up on. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar for ElectricalOM. Today we're focusing what we're going to be doing in this Q&A session around the UK forms and certification reports, these sorts of things. I've also got the mobile app all set up here as well, so we can look at some of the elements of how the mobile app works in conjunction with the core software. Now, Gio's saying that we've got a few questions in the chat. So if you do have any other questions as well, if you go to the reactions button and pop your hand up during as well, if you've got any questions about anything we're talking about at the time, and we will go through as many questions in the hour we have today as possible. So Gise, if you can fire away with the first question.
Is there any way to input LN loop impedance?
Right. Live neutral loop impedances. So obviously within BS 7671, all of our forms are built upon the Appendix 6 forms there. Within the Appendix 6 forms, there isn't actually a field there for you to fill out live neutral fault loop impedance testing. So that doesn't actually appear within the software either. So here, if I go to our UK forms and I create just a standard blank new certificate, I'm going to open this up and we can go to our distribution boards. And as you can see here, all the fields are standard fields as you would see them. So here is our earth fault loop impedance testing column here. So when we put the information in under this column is where that would go. As you can see, there's only one column. So standard with fault loop impedance is an earth fault loop impedance reading. If this is something that people require within the forms, we will certainly be looking at adding additional columns for additional information where people are requesting. Have we got another question there?
Yeah, we have. How do you get EICR report from the mobile app to the desktop?
Right, so in order to transfer anything from our mobile app into the desktop, we use a file transfer system. So everything is saved as individual files, whether it be in the core software or whether it be in the mobile application. Here I have the mobile application up here. So here, as you can see, I've gone into the mobile app. This is the opening screen on the tablet, and we can start any new project here. I'm just going to put something together very, very quickly, very, very simple. So here was the report installation condition report. Yeah, was the query?
Trevor Cole.
Yeah.
EICR.
So
report.
yeah. So here currently we've got the installation certificate. Here I'm going to use this drop down menu and I'm going to select for EICR in this particular case. We can give this project description information then. So here I'm just going to call this webinar demo. And we can give it a unique job ID. These things will match into the software. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to leave it as a draft, and we can make it either a domestic or a commercial style. What this will do, particularly with EICRs, it will slightly change what information is within the inspection schedules later on when we're doing our inspection schedules and linking them to issues within the mobile app. So here I can then go to my next section. So here I'm going to select for my electrical distribution. And I'm just going to very quickly add a board into this installation. So I can insert something like a distribution board here and go for a simple single phase board. And I can add final circuit here. Leave it as lighting. So it's got 4 points, 5 watts each light fitting. actually within the software, we have the same cable systems that you will see in the software here. So here I can select from different cable types, different system. I'm just going to pop it in as a non-armored PVC cable. It's going to give me twin and earth flat 70 degree, 1.5. No parallel conductors in this particular case. Earthing is obviously integral to the conductor as part of the twin and earth makeup, and then I can pop in a protected device here. So I can select either a manufacturer specific brand, as we see, or I can just go with the generic information in this case. So I'm going to go for 30 milliamp type C, and we'll give it a 6 amp device. So I've just put this information in here just quite quickly. Now, if this is all sort of completed, I'm just going to quickly put in some test results in here as well. So I'm just going to make some results up. You're going to see a couple of additional screens. So this is only popping up because I'm working with it connected to my computer from the tablet. Usually when you would do this directly in the mobile app, it will put the information directly into the box where you type without popping up this additional information box. And we have an RCD in here, so I can pop in some RCD times. So now I've got something just relatively quick, ready to go. I'm going to go back now to the home screen. So here now on the home screen, because I've got the information that I want available, I want to send this now into my software. So I'm going to go to share the project file. Now we can share the project file one of two ways. We can share the project file either by an email, so we can email the information to a desktop machine, or we can share the project file via any type of cloud system like Google Drive, OneDrive, these sorts of things. So in this case, I'm going to use to share the project file, and I'm going to select a drive from OneDrive here that I have connected to my tablet device. And I'm just going to select a file. So I have one here that I use for EOM files. And once I'm happy with this location, I'm just going to press the tick button here. And this will now save that to that particular location. So I'm just going to make sure that is saved to that location before we move on any further. So here now, I'm going to go to the location on my drive. As you can see here, it's gone to my location, so we can see here the webinar demo. I did two just in case one failed to send through, but now I can access this location and open this up in the software. In order to do that, we need to use the import feature from ElectricalOM. So we're going to go to the file option here and import, and I'm going to go to import from mobile EOM. Once we got to here, I need to just select the right file location where that's stored. So here I'm going to go to the OneDrive here. I placed it in this EOM, and I'm going to select the object here and open. As you can see, it's brought it in. As standard with the software, whenever you bring anything in through the mobile app, it will automatically build the schematic based upon the information. So here you can see the fact that I put the lighting circuit here, we've got 4 there. We can see the cable, the protected device that I selected, the relevant information around that. If I go to the circuit edit menu and I select where we put the test results in, I can go to the test section here, and as you can see, it's going to populate this with the test results that I put in there on the mobile app as well. So what happens then is when we go to the UK forms here, I'm going to create a new report. So I did a condition report here. I can select the type it's going to be. So this will automatically be selected as per the results that you've put in on the mobile app. So when I press OK here, actually it's generated a new report. and the information that will go in on our test results and any issues that we found there as we went along will automatically be put into here. So here I've got my DB1, here's my final circuit, and as you can see, the test results as I put them in within the mobile app have now appeared here. You'll also notice that obviously because of the new amendment to BS 7671 Amendment 2, we're now recording only the 5 times, but even though I put both sets of data into the mobile app, it has placed the correct 5 times as it requests within part 6 of BS 7671 there. Hopefully that's answered that question. Who was the question from?
Trevor Cole asked this question, and there's 3 more questions. So Trevor is okay with the answer, we can move on to the other questions.
Yeah, Trevor, are you happy? Was that hopefully what you were looking for? Take that as a yes.
I guess so.
Okay, so let's have another question up then.
What's the default password to unlock the report once you have made the final changes if you need to go back in?
Okay, so with any report, so here I've brought this in. If I complete this now and I go to completed, once I've selected this, it will lock down your certificate and you will no longer be able to make any changes or reports, whichever it may be. So here, if I go out, as you can see, it's locked down. And if I try to go in, we can no longer access any of the data. So if we've missed fields by accident, if we've not filled out proper signatures and those sorts of things, it will lock down. Now, if you try to use the unlock option, that is here, it will request you to put in a password for that particular report in order to actually be able to make any further changes. The other thing that you can do here from this point is we can right click on a locked report and we can perform a copy. Now, when we perform a copy, it will duplicate everything that was in that particular report. And we can then go through and make any alterations or additions or changes to that particular report as necessary.
Continue. I was going to ask something as well about this. If we serial number underline unlock wouldn't open this file.
Yeah, I was going to go through this.
Okay, sorry.
So also another way to unlock any of these that have been previously locked down is you can use the unlock option within the reports. So if I go into here and I want to try and unlock this, you're going to have the unlock button just here. Now, to unlock, the password is always different for everybody, and it is based upon your user key. So if you use the unlock underscore and then the user key, it will allow you to unlock any of your reports that you have there.
I move on to the other question. Alice is okay. Alice.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, great. Is there any way to adapt the forms for use where devices are IEC certified, not BSN, for use on installations outside the UK?
So the forms in the way that they appear for the print-offs and those sorts of things within ElectricalOM are always based upon the BS 7671 form. So when I create a new form here, it will require those forms to be to that standard. Now, when it comes to the protected devices and those sorts of things that we're identifying in the reports, obviously we have an extensive database of devices within ElectricalOM. So things like cable types and protected devices, they will always be referred to from the standard that that data has been drawn from. In a lot of cases, you will find that the BS standard for an item is the same as what we have in the IEC or the CENLEC standard information. It's just that we refer to it as a BSEN or a BSIEC standard, but it's the data in terms of that is the same. Does that answer your question?
Thanks. Answer that does.
Okay, great. So are manufacturer catalogs already attached in the software? Can we load the new one?
Right, so we put all the manufacturer data or the manufacturer specific curve data within the software. So where we have different makes and manufacturers, we will refer to their curve data in their catalogs or their information that they provide us for their protected devices. And things like maximum ZS values and these sorts of things, this data is then extrapolated from those curves. Within the software, if you want more devices or you need further devices added into the system that we don't currently have there, you'd simply put in a request to support@modexaf.com. Anything that goes into there, we will get added into the software. Generally, if it's only a couple of devices, we have quite a quick turnaround, usually sort of 7 to 14 days, and you'll be sent out an updated version of the software with your devices in. If it's a particularly large range of devices, we may come back to you and say, is there any particular ones in that range that you require as soon as immediately to continue design? What we'll do is we'll get those in first, send you out an update, and then it may take a bit longer, maybe a month or so, while we go back to manufacturer, make sure the data is all correct for those devices and those sorts of things, and then we will send out a full update once all of the rest of the range has been put in there for that devices. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Great. Is there a validate button to check for missing info in mobile?
Yes. Oh, in the mobile, not currently in the mobile app. So as the information is filled out there, obviously you'd have to go through and just make sure that the information is currently cleared in there. The mobile app is under quite a lot of development. There's a lot still going on. In the desktop version, obviously when it comes over into the desktop, there is a validate button. So you can put more information and you can see what information is missing there, and we can then update that information. But unfortunately, in the mobile app itself, there isn't currently a validate button.
Okay. Signature question. Within Cornerstone, we will not accept a signature as just the fancy type of font. We require a real image of the signature of the QS signing the document. What are the options for pasting signatures?
So I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to get at there. Who's asked the question?
Piotr Dudak. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Guys?
Yeah, if you want to unmute and just sort of walk us through what you're trying to achieve there.
Okay, we get several certificates with just a fancy font signature, which is not valid. Basically, it's not valid document with that type of signature. We require, as Cornerstone, a real image of the signature.
Yeah,
it could be pasted as a I don't know. It's got to be a real.
I think I know what you mean then. Basically, within ElectricalOM, we don't have a fancy font signature system in place. In order to put a signature into any of our forms, if we go here, you would need to set up your company with the various information, and then you would have your engineers and data in there. So if I go to my engineers here, I've got myself down. And as you can see here, we insert a signature image. So this will be some sort of image file, PNG, BMP, JPEG, whatever it might be. Obviously, we can import from various ones. So you might have somebody sign a piece of paper, scan it in as an image, and then you would then insert that signature as an image, and that would be what is dropped into your reports there. And that's the standard way within ElectricalOM. There's no other way to add signatures.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Right. So Gopal is asking, can we customize output report template? For example, needed only summary report instead of individual.
Are you talking about in the forms, or are you talking about the core software reports?
I'm talking about output report.
The output report. So from this section here, you see on the screen.
Yeah. Circuit schedule.
From this section here. So we're focusing on the UK forms today. Within the UK forms, there is customization for various elements of the UK form. So for instance, if I go into this certificate I created earlier, we can go to distribution boards here. We can see all the various information, but we can also add things like supported files or add a note page. So if I select the add note here, it's going to add an additional note page. So here you can add documents, you can write your own text, you can add tables and these sorts of things that you want to add into there. And then support files will allow you to add any other form of sort of PDF file or things that you want to attach into your final report. So then that can be collated together for a final print off. In terms of standard reports for the sort of design side of things, we do have the ability to produce custom extra documentation and also custom report builds in there, but we're not really focusing on that in today's webinar. So if you do want more information about that, just drop us an email to support@meridicsoft.com. Someone will get back to you and we can go through how that works and go through that information with you at another point. Okay.
Brian Smith, is there any future development for a database version for certificates?
A database so we already database with our certificates. So here, if we go into the UK forms, I'll come out of here, we have what we refer to as a certificate registry in the system. Now, certificate registry, what it allows you to do is it allows you to place a file centrally, whether it be on some form of server or in another location where all your computers have access to. Every time a report and certificate is created, and I've got a bit of an error there, and I shall see what has caused that a little bit later on. My apologies. So within our certificates registry, I've got a feeling because I recently changed some of my filing, it's probably going to be more my fault. So when I select this certificates registry, as you can see, it will pop up this information here. From here, you will be able to see all of your different reports from your different files in that particular location. And each time a report is created, it'll create a new line, and also it'll allow you to have your numbering system. So if you've got people working on different computers and somebody starts a particular EICR, and that EICR, as you can see, the numbering system here, it's added for 118 or 147, whatever that number of that particular certificate will be, that will increment on different machines. So somebody can start a report on one and then it won't duplicate the number on another. How we set that up is we go into the settings menu, which is just here, and we need to go to the database option here. When we go to the database option, then we can access the database settings. And then we can choose, you need to make sure you have the EMS runtime. The software will take you through any installation process you need to go through with that. And then here, if I select to locate a flow, the store or the location of that database file, we can then select a location on a computer or on another server location somewhere where the computers can also connect to, and that information will then be databased and housed within there. So anyone logging on from any other machine, as long as they have the right location set here in the database, will see all that data. They'll see all the different reports that have been created on different machines and be able to access them as long as they have access to that drive location. Hopefully that answers your question.
Brian?
Yeah, that does answer the question.
Perfect. Any more questions? Because we are out of questions in the chat.
Okay, anyone want to put their hand up for anything in particular they want to know or go through?
Yeah, guys. Hi, Spencer. Sorry, it's Mark Heaney from Cornerstone.
Hello.
Hi, Mark. Sorry, I've only just joined. Apologies, we were stuck on another meeting. We were looking at a design the other day, and it had two sources. It had the DNO source and it had a microgeneration source.
Okay.
So when the guy has tested it, unfortunately, he did the design on Modec, but then he just used an NIC pad.
Okay.
Okay. Now he's recorded the short circuit, prospective short circuit values and all the rest of it only for the DNO.
Right.
So what I've asked them is, well, actually, I also need a certificate to say how it's going to behave if it's on the microgeneration side.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've got enough energy to trip circuit breakers out in the defined times.
Okay.
It might be that I've got 32 amp circuit breakers, but the site is only producing 26 amps. So
Okay.
would your circuit, would your software and certification give the option to have both sources
Yes.
qualified,
So,
if you like?
yeah, you can even do it within the same report. So for instance, here I've got this supply just in place here. Actually, I might just start this from fresh just to make this a little bit more simple to follow. So for instance, let's put in a 3-phase source here. I'm then going to have something along the lines of a transfer switch in place, and I'm going to add off that an immediate generator supply. Now, when we generate our UK forms and our information, our supply is going to be based upon what the active supply is in our current layout. So here I've got a supply in place. So when I create a UK form against this, it's going to be based upon the information in the supply detail. Let's go to gone for an EICR there, haven't I? Apologies. Let's go out of that. Let's go add a new and go for installation certificate. So here, this information and things are going to be based upon the design for the main service head that I put in. So when I do a fill from design data, it's going to fill the information from the design, so KA ratings and these sorts of things from that information. If, however, I make this my active supply, so I turn to the generator in this case. So here we can see that our max ISE is much lower. We can see that our fault loop impedance is much higher. So here now, when I go to the UK forms and I create a new, again, I'm going to go for this, and I might then rename this. So this is EICR. I might give it actually the same number and say this needs to be 8, but this is going to be for supply 2. So I might just put a B on the end as a reference. You reference it however you want to do so. But then when I go into here and I go to my page 2 again, and I fill from my design, you'll see the data fields for that second supply there. So effectively, we're creating a certificate for our installation under the normal operation under our main supply, and then I've got a certificate for operation under the generator supply. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does perfectly well. So I think you've already answered my question in that should that circuit continue and you've got some end user loads, final circuit loads and etc., you would really need to run your report, not the report's wrong thing, you'd need to switch between supplies to actually see that you're going to disconnect within recognized times and stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, so here when I add things again further downstream, so let's say I've got some boards here, and some of these boards, for instance, also as another example, under this generator there might be a contactor system in place which turns this board off. So also you would go into here, and this goes into something else. We've got something called operational scenarios in the software where you can set different scenarios up and then quickly switch between them. Again, something not really we're going to have time to go through today, but here I can go into this and I can say, right, under this generator supply, this is a non-active supply, so now this will be omitted from our reports as well, yeah, because we're only supplying this part of our network. So effectively that is our installation and these sorts of things. So it will depend upon how you set the information up in the core software, and your design will affect how our final test data and information will appear in our reports.
So into your warning sections now, if I'd got a 32 amp supply and circuit breakers, but the supply was big enough, that will all be good. But when I switch to generator, it may give me warnings there to say you're not going to get disconnection times.
Well, that depends if you're in overcurrent or if you're referring to fault current levels at that point. So if it's fault current
levels that worries me. Yeah.
I mean, if obviously you would have to take then selectivity study to identify any particular issues that you might have downstream of there, to identify whether or not you will be. So here we can see all my fault levels are way past my protected device here, so this device will operate. But if I had a much larger device in here with these fault levels, so 125, so we can see now. I might get it on might just about get it on a maximum phase fault. So we're talking about phase short circuit here, and we might get it in overcurrent, as we see in our overcurrent eventually. So a very long time down the line. But obviously we can also plot against our I2T, so we can see. I mean, we can see that our conductor is going to turn into a fuse way before our device here operates.
Oh, I've not seen that. How did you do that?
So I've just activated. So you see here this little button here, so we can see the phase conductor withstand. So we're calculating and putting a line on the graph to show at what point. So we can see here our fault current is intercepted, our minimum phase fault current is intercepting on our phase conductor way before we touch a protected device here.
So you've lost your cable.
Our cable's going to turn into a fuse before our fuse that is a fuse effectively. So you can do that via obviously selectivity studies and those sorts of things within the software as well.
Yeah, I've kind of been doing it, on exactly say more the long can side, because we use a lot of DC stuff that is only supplied by batteries or rectifiers that can only deliver so much fault current, and I'm worried that I'm going to overheat my cables before the device finally trips. Sort of thing.
And this will tell you that.
Perfect, thank you for that. That was worth logging in for.
Great.
Okay.
We got some more questions. Feel free, anybody, to put their hands up, fire away, or we'll just pop off the microphone and.
All right, on the chat. Okay. Two people have. Yes, Krish has a question, so
go for it.
With him.
Hi, so my question is, currently there's a default option that allows you to put 80% ZS. Can you set a custom percentage of ZS to validate for earth fault loop impedance? Thanks.
No. So obviously the 80% that we have here. So if I go into the settings, just here, and you're referring to our so here we go, DB schedules. Here we got the maximum ZS value at 80%. This obviously goes back to pre 18th edition, where we had Appendix 14, which had information and calculations where you would put in your 80% value there in terms of your checking against your maximum ZSs. That has since been removed. When the first version of the 18th edition came out, the calculation in that appendices is actually now different. However, within the software, we are already calculating for things like C minimum, C maximum values, so for our voltage indifferences on our system, and we are also taking into account, so if you've designed the system when you're doing the test inspection, also specific cable ratings, operating temperature of the cable under that particular load or its maximum load that you're expecting on that cable. So the reasons why the 80% was there to begin with, we can mitigate in other areas, particularly if you're undertaking that design as well as part of that element.
So, I mean, yeah, I understand that was because of the temperature correction, but let's say that I also want to make certain allowances for appliance cables, etc. So there's no option right now for me to set it to, let's say, 75%, right?
Well, it's up to you as a designer how you would apply various information, but there's no options within the software other than on the UK forms to flag up an issue where you have ZS values below 80% or above 80% of the maximum ZS. So that option's there because it was within BS 7671 for the regulations in an informative annex. However, that's no longer there, but there's no other options within BS 7671 to be changing your earth fault loop impedance maximum values or protected device values for any other reason. So we don't currently have that in there. If it's something that people require and they need, obviously it's something we can provide and look at providing. But at the moment, You're the first person that's ever asked us, to be honest, if that's a possibility.
All right, thanks. Got it.
So Tarek asked a question, and I think Mert answered it through chat. I can share this to everyone. Are you able to include VFD in the design? And if you said Mert answered, so I'm reading out loud for everyone to hear. If you set a circuit to be a motor circuit, yes, you can use the motor settings tab.
Yeah,
But
so
if that answers your questions.
If I just quickly throw in a motor circuit here. And I'm going to set this to be a motor, so we've got to set the kind. So different kinds make the software behave in different manners. So in this particular case, I'm going to say I want to have a 3-phase motor. I'm going to select a 3-phase neutron. That will produce a new tab in the circuit edit for those particular kinds of circuit now. And when we go there, we can select from the drop down menu, and depending on whether you've got a 1-phase or a 3-phase motor, you'll see different options here. And obviously VSD, sorry, being one of those. So, and then the information around our starting currents and information about how you're setting that up will change there as well.
So is it okay, Tarek? And by the way, just to tell everyone, we are going to be sharing this session online as we are recording it, just to let you know.
Okay. So is there anybody else have any more questions, specifically around obviously UK Forms or the mobile app? Please do. We've got a couple more minutes left to go. So feel free to jump in. Don't be shy. Wow, quiet room. What about you guys? Jeez,
We're all stunned by what you've showed us.
Well, that's good. Glad that, you know, as long as people are getting what they like out of these. Obviously, we're going to be doing more of these. We'll probably be doing another one in a couple of weeks for a different part of the software. So we'll look at different things here. So I mean, by all means, come along to the others, and you know, you can ask anything about anything. These are going to be open Q&As. So please come with questions, and we'll do everything we can to answer them.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it.
What about you guys, Mert? Jose, on the UK Forms? Anything you guys have ever wanted to ask or know?
Well, I'm trying to work on the manual for the UK Forms at the moment, so I had enough of it.
Yeah. But just so people know as well, so Mert's been writing a lot of the manuals in the background for the different parts of the software. So everything goes up on the website in what we refer to as the knowledge base. For those of you that weren't in the last one, we did show as well, but if you go to the help menu here and select the knowledge base within the software, it will shortcut you to the website where we keep all the knowledge base information. You can see all the stuff that Mert's put out there in terms of that information going on. I've been doing also more videos in the background. So obviously we've got the YouTube ElectricalOM learning and training channel. So I've done a lot of the basics on there. At the moment, I'm currently building all of the recordings and information for the UK Forms as well. So hopefully we'll see that being added in later on. I just had a question pop up.
Yeah, from Alan. Sorry, joined late. Was the process for fastest into ElectricalOM shown as I'm still having problems?
So
just ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you that have previously used other systems like FastTest, which is now currently being run by, I believe, NAPIT and those sorts of things, but if you've got your FastTest database information from your export, we can bring in and you can use FastTest certification reports in ElectricalOM to build things like your schematics and information there as well. We recently did do a bit of an update on our beta for that import feature. I'm just going to open up a new file here just to start with, and I'm going to go to the file and import. So similar how we were importing information from our own mobile app, we have the import option from fast tests. So here you can see that it's bracketed with beta. So this is we're still building and improving this system at the moment. So we do rely heavily on user feedback to tell us where we need to make improvements here. So here I'm going to open this up, and it's going to pop up a new screen here, which you'll see, which is our fast test to EOM transfer window here. Now, one of the big problems we were finding with people is some of the fast test database files were becoming very, very big. So what was happening, it was taking a very long time to search and load up that data within ElectricalOM. So what we've done is we can now browse in, and what will happen is when we find a relevant EOM data file, just a second, I'm not near the location at the moment. So here I've got some that were provided to us before. So what we're doing now is with particularly large files, we're just preloading information such as with the particular client, and then under that particular client we can see the different installations that have been done there. Once we have a particular installation that we want to bring in the information for, so for instance I've got this particular one here, I can then bring in this information, database actions. So also we've got new import for clients and addresses. So this was something people were asking us for. So where you have a large database with different clients and all their addresses, and you want to bring all that data into ElectricalOM, you can bring all that in there as well. And then here we can select any particular board, for instance, and I can say, right, I want to insert the selected DBs until I can insert the selective into reports. So here I'm going to do add a DB to a schematic. So if I select this distribution board here, it's going to search through all the Amtech files in terms of the fast test information. And then from that, it's going to allow us to produce a schematic detail, sort of a bit of a reverse engineered design from that information. So you'll see that's going to populate in here. Give this a minute to, just takes a minute to search through all the information and data there. Probably pick one that's a bit too big. It's taking a little while here too. Here we go. So as you can see, it's pulled in all the information from all the different things here. So we've got lighting and power. Currently, these are in what we refer to as compact mode. So if I leave the compact mode here, you'll be able to see the final circuits and things there. So it's obviously identified what's a lighting circuit, what's a socket circuit. It's assigned the correct symbols and information, selected all the cable sizes that were put in the report and protected device sizes in there as well, so you can see all the information. And then for any of these circuits that have been tested as part of that information, so if we go to the circuit edit and the test details, you'll see that it will bring all the test details as well. So we can also see historic test data from those systems as well. I can also bring in all the test certificates. So here, if I go to my UK form section here, here I can see all the different types of certificates that were mastered. So currently we're bringing in EICs and EICRs. We're not currently bringing in the minor work certificates. But here, for instance, so if I select this one here, I can add this selected certificate with the DB information. I've got EIC here. So here I can select all the historic data that came from there and bring that directly into ElectricalOM. So going into any of these particular reports, I'll be able to see all the historic test data and information and things that were done in fast test and actually just open them up and use that information and data now within ElectricalOM. Hopefully that answers, was it Alan's question?
Yeah, it was Alan's question. Is it okay, Alan? Well,
yep.
Shall we move on to the other one? Yeah.
Oh, you've got another one? Great.
How do you compare this with FETDoc? I'm not sure if I'm reading it correct. FETDoc.
Yeah, it's FETDoc. It's a different software.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that.
I've never heard of
Yeah.
FebDoc.
Me either.
Entirely new one to me.
Yeah. It's more like
so
Nordic
I honestly
countries,
wouldn't. I obviously wouldn't.
guess.
No, I would just say that whatever they're doing, we're probably doing it better. what else am I really going to be? What else am I going to really say? I mean, at the end of the day, with ElectricalOM, we're looking at full integration. So, you know, everything going from full design all the way into certification, and then lifecycle management as well. So we're taking all our certificated information, bringing it into ElectricalOM, and we're using it as meaningful data. So, you know, all of this information that we're bringing in from these different reports, you can see a full history of test results. You can see long-term deterioration. It will pick out issues where you've got selectivity, you know, issues between your devices, and it'll do a reverse design check against, you know, whatever is currently installed on that system. So everything is a bit more thorough in terms of the data, and like I say, we try and make the data really meaningful for anybody who is managing life cycles of particular buildings for their clients. Did we have another question pop up?
Yes,
I
Alan
think
asked another
it's
question.
been an hour anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan has one more, I think. Is there any way to bring data from the NIC online software certification through EOM, or is this a manual operation?
Currently, we do not have a digital way to bring information across from other softwares. It's not something that we've been asked for really from anybody as of yet. But obviously we're always looking to collaborate and work with others. So doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be something that we can't look at in the future.
So
Excellent
Alan
stuff.
said thank you.
Yeah. So I think we've kind of hit our 1 hour point there.
Exactly.
So hopefully today's Q&A has been useful to all those of you attended. So thank you very much everyone for attending. And if you do have any further questions, as always, please just pop an email over to us at support@modicsoft.com. Go to the website. You can call the support line. We're very proactive on technical support, so you'll always be able to get through to somebody, or if we don't get immediately through to someone, you usually get a call back within sort of 5 to 10 minutes. By all means, just let us know, and thank you very much all for attending.
Thank you all. So see you in the next webinar. Q&A, sorry, not webinar.
Yeah, so we haven't booked a date yet for the next one. So we've got the holidays coming up. I'm going away towards the end of August, so it'll probably be some point before then. We'll do one more for August.
Mid-August.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on your emails. We'll obviously send out an email when we're doing the next Q&A, and maybe give sort of a subject for people to think about between sort of now and then about what we're going to sort of focus on in terms of what we're looking at there. So by all means, if you've got or you want to prepare some questions beforehand, please go ahead and do that, and we will look forward to seeing you all at the next one.